Down half of one side. All right, nearly half. 2 squares, then. Something terrible happens. You have to stop playing with your presents and eat lunch. Nothing wrong with that idea in principle. Shove a bit of fuel in the tank, keep you going for another 18 hours. But no, it's just not any lunch. It's the biggest lunch in the world.
Do the turkey hop.
Do the turkey hop.
Boy, when you start,
You don't want to stop.
if you wanna be slick,
You will grab a chick
then do the turkey hop.
and never stop.
What's it all about? The average person eats 6,000 calories on Christmas Day. 3 days allocation of food in one day. What?
Christmas dinner. I mean, I must have been 3.5 stone in weight, but I just sat there until I couldn't move. I would eat everything.
You don't want to stop.
Overcooked dry turkey, loads of roast potatoes, parsnips, cauliflower, cabbage, sausages in bacon, and loads of stuffing. Christmas pudding that nobody really likes. It's always the same. And then a great big hunk of bird carcass that you've got to pick at for the next 2 days. Nothing has changed at all.
People have always saved up their money for the best they could possibly get at Christmas. And certain foods become associated with that very early on, largely due to price. So if you were to look in a medieval kitchen at Christmas, they would be using the raisins, the dates, the figs, the spices, which we still use as Christmas food, all that sort of mince pie and Christmas pudding sort of flavours.
Mince pies are just a superb invention, probably one of the West's greatest inventions since the motor car. And because you've got light, buttery, flaky pastry and sweet mincemeat inside, what's not to like? And it's in a handy one-size mouthful if you're so inclined, but at the most 2 or 3. In fact, you can go into the kitchen, nick one, and no one will ever know.
My mother used to make everything herself. Christmas pudding, Christmas cake, and a thing peculiar in Scotland called a black bun.
I remember my mother doing absolutely everything, laying the table, doing all the preparation, and I'm afraid doing the clearing up with very little help.
We used to have a big joint of ham. This is really weird. For breakfast. And pickles. Then at lunch, we'd have the full Monty blowout. Lovely turkey, which my mum would always slightly overcook, because that's how we like our food, slightly overcooked.
My mother put the turkey on at 9 o'clock the night before. Can you believe that? What was she trying to do, make a pair of shoes?
Doing a Christmas lunch for many more people than you would normally cook for is really hard. You know, you try plating up 8, 10, 12, 14 dishes. You know, you're not caterers. You're people at home. You're not supposed to be able to do this. And it's stressful. And you want everybody to have a good time, but the person who's not having a good time is you. I mean, when I had my family coming around, I'd opened all the presents. I thought, right, give me a tin of Quality Street, stick some James Bond on. I want to lay on the sofa. No.
It's this mammoth cooking task. My mother's in the kitchen, along with my father, doing all these things, all these pots and pans are going, and then you sit down as a family and you have your Christmas dinner.
One Christmas I remember my dad wanting everybody to sit around the same table. So what he did was he knocked down the wall that divided the living room and the dining room, and then put one huge table through the middle through the middle of the wall, you know, and so we could all sit together. And it was wonderful. It was one of the best Christmases that we had, you know. And then after Christmas, he bricked up the wall again.
The Christmas crackers.
Oh, yeah.
That was sometimes the best thing about Christmas dinner.
Yeah. The hats were annoying. They were always too big for me, so I was eating my dinner and this paper hat was just slipping down my face, and I was at one point, you know, sticking a fork through a paper hat, and then it doesn't work.
Christmas pudding, listen to the sleigh bells ring. Christmas pudding surely is the thing.
Always a Christmas pudding with a sixpence inside that someone was going to get, and with 3 children there was always a fight who was going to get the sixpence.
Anybody at Christmas time going for a slice of cake and a cup of tea is a wuss. By tea time, you should be on the hard spirits.
As I've got older, I have got into all the things that you're supposed to like about Christmas: long walks, furry jumpers, baked potatoes, small glasses of Abalur.
Asti spumante.
It was brilliant. I just go, would you like a little bit? So, oh yes, please. And what was great, because there was always like little bits left. So I'd go, oh, I'll take, when we were clearing the table, I'd take the buzz, and on the way to the kitchen, I'd be like, yeah. It's just out of badness. Really, it was great.
Have a holly jolly Christmas.
We did look forward to all these meals, and you were very, very stuffed at the end of the week because it stretched over to New Year's Day, and then, boom, the life became grey again. But for just that moment, just that week, it was very red and very rosy.
Oh, by golly, have a holly jolly Christmas this year.
Finally, 6 hours later, lunch is over. The survivors are carried out on makeshift stretchers.